Jackson lived for conflict, claiming, "I was born for the storm. Calm does not suit me." He didn't have to look far for his next battle: the National Bank of the United States.
It was not a public bank, it was a private bank. It was publicly chartered, and it managed the affairs of the federal government, but it was privately owned. Andrew Jackson considered the bank to be unconstitutional anyway.
He had a genius for picking his enemies. The Bank of the United States was put on this planet to serve Jackson as a foil for all of the aristocrats, the moneyed interests, the corrupt forces against whom he, the representative of honest, hardworking Americans, particularly Westerners, were opposed to.
Jackson's vice president, Martin Van Buren, came into the White House, and Jackson was lying on a daybed, groaning and moaning. Van Buren ran over to him and said, "What is it, Mr. President? What's the matter?" And Jackson said, "The bank, Mr. Van Buren, the bank is trying to kill me, but I will kill it." The bank came up for recharter in 1832, and President Jackson vetoed the bank.
Congress was aghast at Jackson's tactics, seizing power like a street thug. His liberal use of the veto was shocking.
In the 19th century, so much less was expected of presidents. And they didn't veto very often. They just sat around largely waiting for Congress to do what Congress was going to do.
Altogether, the first 6 presidents had vetoed 10 bills. In Jackson's 8 years in office, he vetoed 12.
The single worst thing that presidents can try to do in their relationship with Congress is to circumvent Congress. This idea that, well, Congress is obstreperous, Congress is difficult, and therefore I'm going to go around them. That's the opposite of what the Constitution is about. The Constitution, as someone said, is an invitation to struggle.
Jackson claimed victory over Congress and the moneyed elites. Forever a general, he boldly expanded executive power, reshaping the veto into a potent presidential weapon and fighting off Congress with a shield of populist support. But none of this had the effect he wanted.
The spin and the reality is he's a man who has a pretty limited knowledge of finance and economics. And the result is economic chaos in America. And thousands of these common men who he's supposed to be the champion of, they're the ones who suffer.
As Jackson left the White House, a financial crisis unlike any the country had ever seen was quietly brewing.